Hey everybody, it's George Whittam, reporting for Whittam's World, a Facebook Live edition. Well, I've been futzing around with Facebook Live for a while now, and I've some pros and cons. The pros of it is easy. You just set the phone up and turn on the light and start talking. I mean, you can't beat it. Cons, well, when you're using selfie mode like I need to so I can check my frame and see what's in the shot, it's reversed. It's a mirror, and they've yet to come up with a solution to that problem. So I apologize for those of you who are astute and notice things are reversed. That is why. Also, I've been toying with getting a better audio feed into the phone. I've not been successful at doing that yet because I'm using a new phone, and I'm still trying to find the best way. I'm using an LG V20. This thing has USB-C as its data port. So with the right adapter, which I don't have yet, I should be able to connect any USB audio device that is capable of working on Android, and there's a lot of them, and be able to record with higher quality. So there's some things in the works at improving our sound quality on these little Facebook Live feeds, but we'll just use the built-in mic because I've heard good things. People have told me it sounds pretty good, so I'll go with it. So tonight I thought I might do like a mailbag check-in. Okay, I've got numerous questions that have come in over time, and I've just been falling a bit behind, and rather than do elaborate posts covering a lot of detail about these questions, I figured, you know what, let's just get some of these questions answered instead of trying to go too deep into, producing these detailed videos. I've got questions going back, oh man, probably a better part of a year. But a few of these I have labeled as short answer questions, so maybe I'll focus on a few of those. Let's see. One of those is, that one's actually about recording quality. That's tough to answer in a short answer. Why did I label that a short answer? I don't really know. How about this one here from Greg Kleist. That one we actually already answered, so I don't need to answer that one either. Maybe I should have prepared a little bit better. Sorry, guys. Okay, this one is from Deborah Damone. I think it's Damone. I hope I got it right, Deborah. And she's asking, if recording levels should peak between -12 and -6 dB, am I understanding correctly that this is higher than what ACX requires? If so, does that mean that I have to adjust gain for ACX projects, or is their requirement of -23 to -18 dB met in the processing phase? I would hate to have to constantly try to reset my gain to where it was. That's a good question. There's definitely some confusion about gain settings, peak levels, RMS, that kind of stuff. Very commonly confused. So what ACX is asking about is that the final mastered versions of the files that you deliver to them have an average level, RMS, of -23 to -18 dB. That is what they are asking for. That's an entirely different thing than recording with levels that peak between -12 and -6. That is still a good range to shoot for most things. If you're doing something that's animation based, you might want to peak a little bit lower level so you have some more room to breathe. Something with characters and laughter and outbursts, you might want to set your gain a little more conservatively so that you don't have to worry so much about clipping and peaking. So maybe -18 to -12 for that kind of work would be better. But in general, I usually recommend peaks between -12 and -6. That's the yellow range. Just the occasional peak going into the red is pretty acceptable. That's totally fine because that's a good recording protocol. What happens in post or in processing is what we do so that we can achieve an average level of -23 to -18. And that's all processing. You don't have to worry about recording with levels that fall into that range. It's pretty much close to impossible to get an average level that way. You'd have to read like a robot and always speak at a loud and even tone all the time to get levels that are that loud. That's not something you would want. So don't worry about that. That's something that can be done in post. The processing, we can use processing to achieve the required average levels. So don't sweat that. Good question though, Deb. All right, here is another one. Scott McDonald says, I hope this finds you doing well. And yes, I am still doing Whittam's World. He said, I discovered this cable that works as a high-pass filter at 60 hertz. That's interesting. Would this be of help, or is it better to roll off using a plug-in? So this is interesting. This is a product I've never heard of until Scott found it. And he says it's made by Rycote. It's called the TAC-IT. T-A-C, pronounced tacit. Tacit? Okay. T-A-C-I-T. The tacit filter is an inline active third order, which is 18 decibels per octave, filter with a knee at approximately 60 hertz. This enables it to pass unaffected virtually all of the desired audio while massively reducing wind and handling noise and floor transmitted vibrations. Interesting idea. So the idea here is that if you've got a microphone that does not have a high-pass filter on it, and many of them don't, such as the well-loved TLM 103, the Harlan Hogan VO1A, and a lot of other mics that don't have a high-pass filter, this could be an interesting way to get that effect of a high-pass filter with just a passive cable. It says it's compatible with any phantom-powered microphone, and it just goes between the mic and the preamp or the mic and the mixer. Basically, it goes between mic and other equipment. I think it could definitely work. But 60 hertz is a pretty low frequency to roll off. That's good because it's going to remove some of the low-end rumble, but I find that most high-pass filters for the voiceover use tend to be set at a much higher level. 80 hertz, 90 for women, sometimes 110, 120 hertz. And if you're dealing with a room that's particularly boomy and bottom heavy, I roll off, as high as 120 hertz, even for men sometimes, depending on the situation. So yeah, this cable could help. Will it be the end-all be-all? Probably not. You'll still probably need to use some high-pass filtering in your software. But it could be enough to remove some of that low-frequency garbage as you record so that editing is a little bit easier. I personally prefer to record, then immediately before I edit, use a high-pass filter setting that I've set to clean up my recording so that the wave is cleaner, has less rumble. That's something you can set up as a hotkey in your DAW in your software. In Twisted Wave, I have H set up as a high-pass filter. So I just hit H, enter, and it takes out the low end and makes my editing life easier because I have a cleaner waveform to work with. But if you want to check this thing out, it's at Rycote, RYCOTE.com, and it's called the Tacit, T-A-C-I-T. Let me turn down the volume on my phone so that, sorry about that. I should definitely have my alerts turned off before I do a Facebook Live because you guys just heard the loudest ding on the planet. Sorry about that. My mistake. Anyway, so yeah, the Tacit. It's called the Tacit. It's spelled weirdly. T-A-C, exclamation point, T, filter. So you can check that out. Product code is 017022. So if you Google Rycote 017022, you will find this little cable. If you're wondering what 18 dB per octave means, that means how quickly it rolls off the low end, how much of a radical slope in the EQ you get by applying that filter. And for the purposes of voiceover, a steep slope, 18 dB, 24 dB per octave, that's a good thing. You want it to take as much of the low end out as you can. So I think it's really interesting. I'm going to look into getting one of these and give it a shot. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, Scott. Another question also from Scott. Scott's got a lot of good questions. Scott heard about something called the Townsend Labs microphone system. He said, I came across a very interesting product that is very interesting, but I am skeptical about such systems. Posted the subject on the VoiceOver bulletin board, and there are others who find it interesting, but are also very skeptical. A lot of interested, skeptical people out there. If they would be willing to let you review it, and your review was positive, I would think you would get a lot of new customers. It's a website called Townsend Labs, TOWNSEND LABS.com. And checking this thing out, I think I've heard of this before. Oh yeah. So what they've done is they've made a special microphone that works along their own proprietary software to allow one microphone to simulate many different types of microphones in many different patterns. Cardioid, omni, and different styles of mics. It allows you to change the response of the mic. It's a very interesting product. It kind of combines a physical microphone with a virtual environment where you can tune the mic to sound any way you want. Definitely something I want to get my hands on to do a demo. One of those things where it looks really cool in theory, and right now it's what I call vaporware because it's a pre-order. They're just not shipping yet. I'm not one of those kind of pre-order, take something on faith kind of people. I'm going to wait until this mic becomes available out in the wild and I can get a demo. And when I do, you guys will certainly know about it. But it's called the Townsend Labs Sphere L22 microphone. And it looks like on pre-order, it's a $1,499 mic. Pretty steep. But, you know, if you want to have just one mic to rule them all, could be pretty sweet. And this will be the last one I'm going to answer tonight because I got to jump on an Audacity webinar in a few minutes here, so I don't want to keep my Audacity peeps waiting. This one comes from Mark Chen. And he said, I just had an idea for a segment, or a segment of a segment. I'm pretty sure you've touched on monitor placement and avoiding comb filtering. Just thinking with more personal studios using more and larger monitors and the advent of curved monitors, any special concerns with multiple monitors, and are there special problems with curved monitors since they are by nature parabolic? Any mic focus point type issues? Thanks for all you do for the VO community. You rock. So what Mark is referring to are not speakers monitors like that one right there. He's talking about LCD displays. And his concern is having those new large curved displays near your microphone, will they cause problems? So if you haven't been looking at the newest tech out there, there are new displays for your computer that have a convex, is that right? No, concave, I should say, concave curve, meaning they curve toward you, creating a sort of a wraparound effect. And it makes a more immersive environment because the video display doesn't extend out flat, it curves back toward you. Might look pretty cool for games, maybe watching movies, but for our purposes, that might be a really bad idea because when you have a concave curve that's reflecting sound back to you, it creates a sort of a parabolic reflector. A parabolic reflector is a surface that is designed to reflect sound or light back to a specific point. So what that would mean is if the monitor is at the wrong place, the sound is going to bounce off the monitor. The monitor is going to reflect the sound of your voice back at the mic and focus it on the microphone. That's the exact opposite of what you want. The last thing you want to have happen is have something reflecting your voice back at the microphone. That's going to create some havoc. So if you do want to try one of these new curved monitors, I recommend that you get one in a demo situation or buy one with the intention of returning it if it doesn't work, because it could definitely cause you some serious problems. That parabolic reflector effect can really, really mess with your sound. So I would say avoid them. I'd go with standard flat monitors. Flat monitors aren't great either. They do reflect sound back, but if you tilt them down or to the side a little bit so that the sound reflecting off ricochets away from the microphone, they will work pretty well. But those parabolic curved monitors, that sounds like a sound nightmare. So use them out in your control room or your production studio Don't use them inside the booth. I'd say avoid. If they made one that had the reverse curve, a convex curve, that would be awesome because that's exactly what you want. You don't want the sound to bounce off focused back to you. You want the sound to reflect off and sort of scatter out in other directions. That's what you want. But I don't think anybody makes a convex curved monitor, and that's not something that people want. Only a voiceover actor would ever want something that odd. So anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. It's been fun catching up a little bit on the mailbag. And if you've got questions for Whittam's World, well, you know where to send them. You can put them right here on the Whittam's World Facebook page, or post them to my email box, which is my preferred method. So you can email them to whittamsworld@edgestudio.com. I've just been told that something is frozen. Mark Aaron Gilman says, frozen! How long have I been frozen? I have no idea. The adventures in using new technology. Maybe that's why people have been logging in and then leaving, because it's frozen. But Mark was the first one to actually be kind enough to tell me anything was wrong. So anyway, thanks again for watching. This has been George Whittam reporting for Whittam's World. And stay tuned for more videos. And I'll see you guys around. Be well. Oh, and don't forget, Cyber Monday ends tonight. We extended it a day. Cyber 2016, CYBER 2016, when you check out with any services on the Edge Studio Technology page. 25% off all services until midnight tonight. All right. Take care, everybody.